Okay, this is Mongolian Mindset, and today we're going to be doing a personality analysis on Cristiano Ronaldo. We see personality database has him at ESFP. We're going to do a breakdown to see if he actually is an ESFP and see what he actually is. They have ESFP with 532 votes, ENTJ with 262 votes, and ESTP with 135 votes. So we're going to break them down ourselves with the metrics from Linda Barrens. So highly recommend you pick it up if you want to find your personality type and be more accurate with actually typing individuals. Learn the real things, like David Keirsey and whatnot. So we're going to go ahead and start this.
Just by asking you, why are you doing this interview with me?
Because I think it's the time to say something.
Okay. Because I think it's the time. The first thing we like to do is always try to figure out if someone's direct or informative language. Okay, that's going to be what we shoot at first. Because once we get that, we're going to eliminate 8 other types. So let's see what we got here.
And because I like you. As simple as that.
Well, don't say that in public.
Okay, so off the jump, we could tell that this guy seems to be very direct. Okay, he seems to be direct. I mean, go back, listen to that, but we're gonna listen more. Make sure that he is direct.
Well, I like you too,
it's
and I appreciate.
Direct versus informative. Informative is all over the place, vague, beating around the bush, not concise. Lest the other person picks the role of the conversation. It's kind of just leaving it up to other people. Kind of like trying to motivate them with the information that you're giving. So they'll generally tend to give a lot of information or to be like vague or whatnot. But direct people kind of like it's specific, concise, and straight to the point. It's like straight from the hip. Like there's no, like you can't misinterpret what they're saying.
Appreciate it because I think that you've had to sustain a lot of criticism this year in particular, probably more than at any stage in your career. And I think it's time to set the record straight and to clear up a few things. Not least, I suspect, for the fans of Manchester United. You must be wondering what the hell's been going on.
Oh, as I say many times, the fans, I'm always gonna say good about them. They are the most important things in the football. You play for them. They're always in my side.
They're always in the side. You play for them. Look, this guy's direct. Okay, ESFPs are informative. ESFPs are informative. Okay, based just what we just seen so far, Cristiano Ronaldo cannot be an ESFP because he does not have informative language. He has direct language.
I feel that every time when I walk in the streets, the fans coming to me and they appreciate what I do for football. And for me, it's the most important in football. The fans, for me, is everything.
I want to take you back to...
like we said, we're going to go ahead and put direct down for Cristiano Ronaldo. And that eliminates 8 types. That eliminates the 8 informative types. Okay? So personality database, you're already wrong. Can't be ESFP because he's not informative language. Okay, so now we're left to ESTJ, ESTP, ENTJ, ENFJ, right? Those are the structure types or in charge type. And we're down, and we have ISTJ, ISTP, INTJ, and INFJ. Those are the only types that he can be right now because he has direct language.
Last summer, you're at Juventus, and there's massive speculation about where you're going to go. And the big rumor is that you're going to go to Manchester City. So first of all, how close was that to happening?
Well, honestly, it was close. It was close. It's something that they spoke a lot, and Guardiola say 2 weeks ago, I guess, that they try hard to have me. But as you know, as my history in Manchester United, your heart, your feeling, the history that you did before make the difference. And of course, as well, Sir Alex Ferguson. So I was surprised in the same way, but it was conscious decision because the heart speaking loud in that moment.
You were a Manchester United legend. So when you say your heart led you, it's because of that, the history you had with the club and the relationship you maintained with Sir Alex, with the fans.
I think it was the key. It was the difference in that moment. But I cannot be loyal if I wouldn't say that Manchester City wasn't close. But I think I did conscious decision. I don't regret at some point. And as you mentioned before, Sir Alex Ferguson was the key.
Did you speak to him before you?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I spoke with him, and
what did he say to you to try and persuade you?
He said to me that it's impossible for you to come to Manchester City. And I say, okay, boss. So I took the decisions, and I repeat I was with conscience that it was a good decision.
You came back, and it couldn't have started better. You played at Old Trafford. Yeah, you won 4-1 against Newcastle. You scored twice. Sir Alex was there, loving it, obviously, the return of the prodigal son. Your mother was there, the return of her own son. Your mother was crying, obviously.
Obviously, yes.
But what a comeback. How did that feel that day when you came off the pitch?
Well, that feeling was amazing, but not only the day of the game. I felt before the week before that everything changed. The world speak about me, Cristiano, back home, back where they belong. So it was a special moment to be back to Manchester United, to perform for our fans, and of course to score 2 goals was the best welcome that I received in Old Trafford. It was a memorable day and unbelievable day too.
The Viva Ronaldo chant went up?
Yes, Viva Ronaldo.
You like hearing that?
Viva.
So what I'm picking up here is that Cristiano Ronaldo seems to stay on topic. He just responded to whatever Piers Morgan says. He's not being extroverted or whatnot. He's not changing the subject. He's not initiating. He's just pretty much responding to everything he says. So we're gonna be looking at that. We're just gonna put like a key note to the side that we think this guy is responding. So if he's responding, that it eliminates all of the extroverted types. So he can only be a finisher, which would be ISTJ, ISTP, INTJ, and INFJ.
Back, of course, I did.
Yeah.
As I told you before, the fans for me, they are everything.
2 things happened, I think, within 24 hours of you re-signing for United. One, you broke the all-time record for shirt sales in 24 hours. You actually beat a guy called Messi at PSG. You must have been happy about that.
Of course I do. As you know, I don't follow the records. The records follow me. So it's good. Another one in my book.
And the other one was the Manchester United.
He says, I don't follow the records. The records followed me. So he got a chance to be pretty boastful about his little TE achievements, but we didn't pick up that, I think he doesn't really care about achievements. So we're going to look at that. It might have been TIFE there.
Tweet announcing that
the thing about TE users, they love their achievements. They love their achievements. TE users love them.
Rejoining the club was the most tweeted or most liked tweet, I think, in Twitter history.
It's good, as I told you before. It was a good moment. Nobody expect, because things change around, in my opinion, in 72 hours, which is you plan, or they spoke, not only Manchester City but other clubs too, spoke about your name, that you will change Juventus for another club. But Manchester United wasn't there, wasn't in that thought of that teams, but surprised everybody, even me, to be honest.
After a few weeks, things weren't going well at Manchester United. The club just wasn't firing. And in the end, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the manager, got sacked. And that's within like 2 months of you coming back. What were you feeling about what was going on at United? And what did you feel generally about the club itself and the state that the club was in compared to when you'd been there before?
Piers, to be honest, when I signed for Manchester United, I thought everything was changed because it's 13 years that I changed. I was in Real Madrid 9 years and 3 in Juventus. And when I arrived, I thought everything will be different, you know, the technology, the infrastructures and everything. But I was surprised in a bad way, let's say in that way, because I saw everything was the same. And Manchester, it wasn't in that moment that, as you mentioned, that Oli was sacked. Michael Carrick, he assumed the job for two games, Villarreal and Chelsea away, and everything was so fast, but surprised me a lot. Instability in the club, everything was kind of the same that I
Hadn't moved on.
No, they stop on the clock, in my opinion, which is something that surprised me. I didn't expect. And
so I think what he's saying here is that he expected things to actually be changed at Manchester United, but when he came back, it was essentially the same, and it was 13 years ago. So I guess he thought they would be more into the future. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a point down for abstract on that. He's not happy about them being exactly the same. Like a SI user would love that everything is exactly the same, you know, because it would make them comfortable. But a NI user is gonna have a little problem with that because they're future focused. So, yeah.
Slowly they start to change. Even the windows, the new players, and was tough. Was tough for me because I didn't expect that. And
because when you were there before, if Manchester United wanted a player under Sir Alex Ferguson, they normally got their man. Right now, it's a very different environment. After many years of failure since Sir Alex retired, United weren't getting the top players anymore. So were you surprised by that dynamic changing as well? Because you would have been used before to them, if they wanted top players, they got them.
I was surprised. I thought when I signed, that they signed in that year, Sancho and Varane plus me, that things will be in the way that Manchester should be. As you mentioned, well, Sir Alex Ferguson left a big gap in the club. Not only Sir Alex Ferguson, but one person that I thought made the difference, David Gill, the president, a very, very good man. And the structure around Sir Alex Ferguson was very important too. I knew that Manchester United wasn't the same, but I don't see that it was so big gap, so big things that go through by the last 10 years. And it was the thing that surprised me more, to be honest.
It was little things like even the swimming pool that the players use, the saunas, all these facilities. Nothing had changed since you'd left in 2009.
Nothing changed. Surprisingly, not only the pool, the jacuzzi, even the gym. Even some points, the technology, the kitchen, the chefs, which is I appreciate, lovely persons. They stop in a time which is it surprised me a lot. I thought I will see different things, as I mentioned before, technology, infrastructure, but unfortunately we see many things that I'm used to see when I was 20, 21, 23, so surprised me a lot.
You'd also, of course, as you said, you've been at Real Madrid and Juventus, where you saw them moving all the time to progress with technology, the latest thing, to improve performance levels. So you were able to compare what you'd experienced there with what was not happening at United.
In United, the progress was zero, in my opinion. To compare with Real Madrid and even Juventus, that they follow the recent world. So the technology, especially the terms of training, nutrition, and conditions of eat properly and to recover better than before. surprised me. Manchester right now, to compare with that club, I think it's behind, in my opinion, which is something that surprised me. A club with this dimension should be in the top of the tree, in my opinion, and they are not. Unfortunately, they are not in that level, but I hope the next years they can reach to be in the top level.
When you look at, I mean, United have had some of the best managers in the world follow Sir Alex Ferguson, and they've all been relative failures compared to other stages of their careers. Do you think that partly that's down to the structural element of this, that there just isn't the support that top managers need?
I don't know what's going on, but since...
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take responding. I'm gonna go ahead and put him down as responding, because he's pretty much staying on top of it. He's responding to everything Piers Morgan says, and he's direct, so he can only be a finisher. So we're gonna go ahead and eliminate the ESTJ, ESTP, ENTJ, ENFJ. So we have to be ISTJ, ISTP, INTJ, or INFJ. So that's what we're looking at now.
Sir Alex Ferguson left, I saw not evolution in the club. The progress was zero. For example, we have an interesting point that how the club as Manchester United, after Ole, they bring sport directive Ralph Rangnick, which is something that nobody understands. This guy is not even a coach. A bigger club like Manchester United bring sport directive, surprised not only me but all the world. You know.
Well, it was a ridiculous decision, wasn't it?
Of course, in my opinion, you have to be honest. If you're not even a coach, how are you gonna be the boss of Manchester United? It's something that I should see that Manchester not followed not the right way to reach successful like other teams, like for example Liverpool or Manchester City, Chelsea.
Talking about what other people are doing, to know what, like SENI, like to look what other people are doing to figure out what to do. So I'll put a point down for that. He's been saying that a lot.
They are one step behind or two because of this kind of mistakes. In my opinion, they should improve and change probably the stuff. Or
because early in the interview he was
people.
talking about how, you know, the Western world has a lot of stuff and that I guess this club he's at now doesn't, and that they should catch up. So that's a lot of that's like an SENI. So I'm gonna go ahead and eliminate ISTJ off the board. He's gonna be an ISTP, INTJ, or INFJ. So we're gonna go ahead and take that off. So no ISTJ. We're down to 3 types.
The directives or presidents, I don't know who is the problem there, but
did it show a lack of ambition to you when they replaced Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who a lot of fans liked, but he obviously wasn't delivering the big titles that United wanted and were used to. But to a point, someone like Ralph Rangnick, I mean, I'd never heard of him. And I'm thinking if as you heard of him?
No, of course not.
You'd never heard of this guy?
Nobody. And the people who I speak, nobody knew it. Who is him?
And suddenly did you call him the boss?
Of course. I respect. We have to call because he assumed the job.
I respect who has the job. I'm gonna put a point down for affiliative there. I respect the person who has a job. Pragmatic people have a problem with authority a lot of times. He seems to not have that. So I'm put a point down for affiliative there.
Of course not.
You'd never heard of this guy?
Nobody. And the people who I speak, nobody knew it. Who is him?
And suddenly did you call him the boss?
Of course.
Of course.
I respect. We have to call because he assumed the job.
Just because he had the title, he respected. Okay,
regardless, all the coaches that I had in my career, I call them boss because if they assume the job, we have to call in that way.
Okay, so he's, like I said, he's respecting anybody who has the mantle. Pragmatic people don't. A lot of times, pragmatic people will actually have a problem with authority, and they don't care like if you have a job if you're not like effective at your job. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a point down to Philip, and he said he's always done that. So yeah.
But in the end, deep inside me, I never saw him as a boss, because I saw some points that I never agreed, and he stopped in the time as well. Because if you're not being a coach, the next 5 years, you're gonna lost the identity of to be a coach. So surprised me a lot. But in the same way, don't surprise me a lot, because if you see the structures, they keep it the same. So the coaches didn't surprise me, but it was a tough moment.
What was extraordinary was very quickly after Rangnick took over, he started briefing journalists that you weren't pressing enough, and that maybe it would be a good idea if you moved on from the club. And I'm like, who is this guy? And why is he saying this to the man who's scoring the goals?
To be honest, Pierce, it's something that I don't understand. It's the new coaches that coming around, they think they find the last Coca-Cola in the desert, which is I don't understand. The football there invents many years. So, but I respect any coach have a different approach, different opinions, different mentality, but kind of some points that you not agree. So I'm always like that in my life. I'm always been beside the best coaches in the world: Zidane, Ancelotti, Mourinho, Fernando Santos, Allegri. So I had kind of some experience because I learned from them. And when you see some coaches that they're coming, that they want to revolution the football, I not agree. I have my opinion. They agree or they disagree, but it's part of the business, because at the end of the day, I'm in a club to win. And with my experience, I want to help, like always. And some coaches that don't accept. And, it's part of the job.
Did he know what he was doing, Rangnick, or not? At a club like United?
No, they don't. They knew the club very well, but they don't know the dimension of the club inside, the history of the club, which is for me surprised me even more, which is when the soccer Ole Solskjaer, you should bring a top manager, not sport director.
Did you think he was right to get rid of Solskjaer, or would you have kept him on?
Well, it's not. I love Solskjaer. I think he was a top person, because what I keep inside my heart, it's the heart of the persons, and Ole for me is a top person. Coach, of course, he wasn't. He didn't look for what he wants. It's hard to assume after Sir Alex Ferguson, but I think he did a good job. For sure, he need more time, but I'm never doubt that he's going to be a good coach in the future. But it was a good experience. I was so pleased to work with him, even a short period.
What about the younger players, and specifically their mentality? Because it seemed to me, just from what I was reading, when you were originally at Manchester United as a young 18-year-old, that you had huge respect for the older players, the Keanes and these guys in the dressing room, and you would soak up their experience, their wisdom, and so on. Did you get that same respect, do you think, from the younger players?
I don't mean that they don't respect the experienced players or the oldest players. I don't think that word is the best one, but they live in a different era. I can see my kid, they have 12 years old. The mentality, they are not the same. They are not suffer that.
What's the difference?
So you're talking about interest.
The anger. I think the anger. I think that they have the things more easily. Everything it's easily. They don't suffer. And I think they don't care.
They don't care.
I don't mean only a few in Manchester United, but all the teams, all leagues in the world, the youngers, they are not the same of my generation. But we cannot blame them, because it's part of the life, the new generation and the new technologies, they avoid, they distract them for another thing. So, but they are not the same. They listen, but this is why we have 2 years. You listen from one side and they go away from another side. So don't surprise me, but in the same way, it's a little bit shame, because if they have the best examples in front of your eyes, and if they don't at least copy what you did for me. It's kind of
She's
weird.
copying what other people do. That's
They listen, but this is why we have 2 ears. You listen from one side and they go away from another side. So don't surprise me, but in the same way, it's a little bit shame, because if they have the best examples in front of your eyes, and if they don't, at least copy what you did for me.
Copy what you did. So I'm gonna put an if is abstract, because you're talking about the what if, and I'm gonna put a point down for SENI. Copy what other people are doing. That's SE.
It's kind of weird, because I remember when I was 18, 19, 20s, I'm always look to see the best players, Van Nistelrooy, Ferdinand, Roy Keane, and gigs. This is why I have the successful that I have and longevity, because I take care of my body, my mentality, my head, because I see these guys and I learn from them.
See, I see these other guys, and then I know what I want to do. So SENI, some more. Okay, so yeah, we've already crossed out ISTJ, and we're down to ISTP, INTJ, INFJ, and the difference between these two is ISTPs are interest-based. They know they're getting out of a situation at all times. They're also pragmatic, so they have a utilitarian mindset. INTJs are pragmatic as well, so they have a utilitarian mindset, but they're systematic. Okay, so we're not saying that he's systematic. So we can go ahead and cross out INTJ. So we're down to INFJ, and INFJ and ISTP. They have very similar functions, TI and FE, but they have it in, ISTPs have it in the first slot, and INFJs have it in the third slot for the TI. But the difference between them is one's abstract. INFJs are abstract, and they're also affiliative. Okay. So if he is abstract or affiliative, we can go ahead and nail him down as an INFJ. I'm not picking up any like pragmatism from him, really.
When you try and give advice to these younger players, what do you say to them? What do you try and guide them to be like?
I think the best advice, I'm not the kind of guy to like to give advices. I prefer to be as example.
Yes.
Because I'm an example. I'm there every morning. I do the same stuff. I'm probably the first ones to arrive and the last ones to go out. I think the details speak for itself. So, because as I told you before, they listen one thing and in 2 minutes they already forgot and do it whatever they think it's better. This is why I say,
talking about people's interests again,
I like to lead by example. And some ones they follow me, not much, but
see, I just find that incredible. That if I was a young footballer and I had Cristiano Ronaldo at my club, that I wouldn't want to spend every second watching him, listening to him, observing the way you go about your business. And yet, from what you're saying, clearly, they're not interested.
They don't care. Some ones, yes, but most of them, no. But for me, it's not surprise me. Don't surprise me, because they're not going to have longevity careers, in my opinion. It's impossible. It's impossible to see, for example, my generation, you see many
what
players.
Other people will have in the future. Put down a point for abstraction. It said they're not going to have longevity in their careers. He sees what they're doing and he can project what they're doing into the future. So basically, like, yo, you ain't doing the right stuff, you're not going to make it in the future. So I'm going to put abstract because he's seeing the other people's future.
They reach 36, 37, 38 in a high level. I think this generation, you're going to count by your hands how many going to reach in that level, because this years of preparation, it helps a lot.
Who are the players in the world that you most admire for their mental strength, their attitude?
It's difficult question, because I'm always can say what I see from my eyes. For example, if you tell me what I see, for example, in Manchester United, I can mention probably Dalot, Diogo Dalot. His example is young, but he's very, very professional. And I'm not doubt that he's gonna have longevity in the football, because He's young, he's smart, intelligent, and he's very professional. You have a few ones more, but like him, it's difficult to see. Probably Martinez, Casimiro's 30s, but I will say Dalot.
So Rangnick's come then, it's your second manager, it's not working, the results aren't great. You're still scoring goals regularly for Manchester United. You're about the only one who is. But then you get hit by an awful episode in your life, probably the worst time of your life, where your partner, Georgina, she's pregnant with twins and is actually giving birth to these 2 babies. And your baby son doesn't survive. And I don't think I can imagine, I have 4 kids, you have a lot of children. You know, you can't imagine a worse thing to happen than to go a full term of a pregnancy, particularly for the poor mother in that case, but also for you. What was that like for you, that time in your life?
It's probably the worst moment that I passed through my life since my father died. You know, when you have a kid, that you expect that everything will be normal, and you have that problem. It's hard, you know, as human being that I am. Me and Georgina, we had quite difficult moments because we don't understand why happened to us. Was difficult, to be honest. Was very, very difficult to understand what's going on in that period of our life. As you know, the football carry on. They are so fast, many competitions. The football don't stop. We have many competitions.
Progression.
And pass through in that moment was probably the most difficult moment that I had in my life. Me and my family, especially Gio, that was tough.
She said she was giving an interview about the new series of her TV show. And she said in an interview, a big piece of my heart shattered. And I asked myself how I could carry on. I had the answer nearer than I thought. I looked into the eyes of my children, and there I saw the only way of doing it being all together.
Yeah, I saw too. Yeah, this is why what we did. I grew up my family, especially Gio, and we had the difficult moments, but we said, listen, we have more kids. We have one that born, Bella, that we have to be happy too.
I mean, such a difficult situation again, where you're mourning the terrible loss of your little baby boy, but also celebrating the birth of your beautiful daughter.
I try to explain sometimes to my family and even my close friends. They say, I never felt to be happy and sad in the same moment.
Yes.
I never felt. It's hard to explain.
So difficult.
So difficult. You don't know if you cry or you don't know if you smile.
Yes.
Because it's something that you don't know how to react. You don't know what to do, to be honest. And of course, I remember very well that I look like, I don't know the word that to define what I felt in that moment, but it's crazy feelings, it's crazy emotional. But as I told you before, I have to hold that we had at least Bella,
yes,
which is the most important. One die and one survive, but it's difficult to explain.
How did you explain it all to your other children? They must have been so confused about it.
In the beginning, Gio arriving home and the kids start to say, where's another baby, where's another baby? Of course, Cristiano, I had conversation with him in the day, and because he's 12 years old, he knows, he understands everything. And I had a nice conversation with him. We cried together in his bedroom, and he explained, and it's kind of, he didn't understand. He understand, but in the same way, he was a little bit confused. The other ones in the beginning, in the table, the kids start to say, Mom, where is the other baby, blah, blah, blah. And Gio, in the beginning, they start to say, because, you know, she had a little bit belly, because they had 2, it's hard process. And after 1 week, I say, you know, let's be frontal, let's be honest with the kids. Let's say that Angel, which is the name, they go to the heaven. It's better to say in that way.
Yeah.
be honest.
And we start to use in that way. And the kids always understand when we had shots in the table, and they say, "Daddy, I did this for Angel," and they point out for the sky, which is I say, and I like it the most because you know it's part of the lives, and I'm not gonna lie to my kids to say the truth, which was a difficult process. But in the same way, I become more father, more friendly of them. They become more.
Talking about the connection.
More close to his daddy, especially me with Georgina as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that because these things they can make or break relationships.
Talking about connections with people.
Because the grief can be so intense, it can drive couples apart or it can bring them closer.
In my case, it was better in that way. I become more friendly of Gio. I was of course friend, but I see more lovely for her and for my kids, and I start to see the life with a different perspective. You understand? Which is coming the point of, if you're gonna ask me for sure, the pre-season moments.
Yes.
For example, why I didn't go to the pre-season.
Yes, I'm going to come to that. Yeah.
So the reason why I'm taking my time here is because I think Ronaldo might be an INFJ, and I just want to make sure that he's not an ISTP. I think he's an INFJ. I just want to make sure he's not an ISTP. So I'm looking for pragmatic statements from him, and I'm not really getting it. I think he's affiliative. I think he's affiliative. He's gonna ask for permission before he does anything. He's not gonna just do something without permission first.
To finish in that chapter was the most difficult moment. The last since my dad died, it was this moment that I passed through the last 6 months.
Do you feel your son is with you in spirit? Do you feel
For sure. For sure. His ashes is with me, like my daddy. They are here in my house. Yes. It's something that I want to hold for the rest of my life. I'm not thrown to the ocean or to the sea. I keep with me. They are next to my daddy. I don't know if you check. I have a small church down. And
you do?
Yes, I do.
Like a little chapel?
Yes, chapel.
Wow.
And I keep my daddy and my son.
Do you talk to them?
Yes, I do.
Wow. So yeah, he's abstract. That's kind of weird. I keep them all with me. Blah blah blah. They're with me forever. It's abstract.
Is with you in spirit? Do you feel
For sure. For sure. His ashes is with me, like my daddy. They are here in my house. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I want to hold for the rest of my life. I'm not thrown to the ocean or to the sea. I keep with me. They are next to my daddy. I don't know if you check. I have a small church down, and
you do?
Yes, I do.
Like a little chapel?
Yes, chapel, and I keep my daddy and my son.
Do you talk to them?
Yes, I do.
And he talks to him.
I talk with them every time, and that they are in my side. They help me to be a better man, to be a better person, to be a better father. And it's something that I'm really, really proud that the message that they send me, especially my son.
My message that my son and my father
You had an extraordinary
he keeps
reaction
in a
from
chapel nearby.
fans.
What the
Obviously
fuck?
from Manchester United, but I think you must have been just so surprised by the outpouring of not just support, but Liverpool.
Okay, so first thing that we noticed about Cristiano Ronaldo is that he has direct language. So personality database is wrong. He can't be an ESFP because ESFPs have informal language. The second thing we notice is he's responding. So he's not really adding anything extra to the conversation. He's just responding to whatever peers ask him. He isn't initiating any new topics. He's not cutting peers off. He's not doing anything. He's just sitting back. He's responding. Ronaldo is actually introverted. And what else we noticed? We noticed that he seems to be affiliative. We didn't get much pragmatic statements from him, and we did get abstract points from him, to where the points where he could see all the people's future by them not working hard, saying that they won't have a future. The last statement about his kids, his kid died and his dad died or whatever, and he basically has a chapel and he goes and talks to them. Pretty fucking abstract there. That is not concrete. Concrete people would not do that. So Yeah, we're gonna have to conclude that Ronaldo's an INFJ, which is crazy, which took me a lot longer to do because I was not expecting this man to be an INFJ. So he's direct, he's responding, he's abstract 100%, and so if he's abstract, that would only leave it down to INTJ and INFJ. And we saw that he had TIFE was his preferences. TIFE. If he was TEFI, we'd say he's the INTJ. So also he's affiliative. He doesn't think with a utilitarian mindset. So this is Mongolian mindset, and we disagree with what personality database has him as. They have him as ESFP. ESFPs are informative language. The second one they have is ENTJ. ENTJs are direct, and they have ESTPs. ESTPs are also direct, but ENTJs are systematic and in charge. So if he was an ENTJ or ESTP, he'd have been interrupting Pierce while he talked, or he'd have changed topics here and there. But if you watch Ronaldo throughout this whole interview, that was a lot longer than that. He just sitting back, listen to what Pierce says, reflects, and then responds. He's not just like jumping the gun on anything. So this is Mongolian mindset, and we disagree again with personality database. And we got Ronaldo down as an INFJ, which was crazy. We were not expecting that.